Hey guys, welcome back to Gut Feeling FPL, where it's all about the gut feeling. Today, I got an interesting video for you. It's taking you through a couple of sneaky picks, ones that I think might have gone under the radar. The first one, we're jumping straight into it, Jack Grealish. I think he's a very interesting pick. I know a couple of people have thought about City players, Foden, De Bruyne, those 9.5 players. But if you are making a draft without Haaland and you are thinking about City attackers, I don't think enough people are considering Grealish. 0.7% total ownership. It is not high at all. Massive differential. 6.5 million. I know there's a couple of options around that price point that may be more appealing. Your Bailey, your Nkunku. I think Grealish is a very good option. Their fixtures aren't that great, but it's Man City. They'll score. They'll probably win the league. Hopefully not. But listen, Chelsea away. They beat them 3-0 in pre-season. Ipswich home, West Ham, Brentford, Arsenal, Newcastle. It's not bad. And Grealish especially is more interesting because if we look at what Pep said about returning players, your Foden, KDB, Walker, Rodri, they will be late. They won't feature against United in the Community Shield, but against Chelsea, Ipswich, they could be reintroduced. So does that mean if Grealish plays well in the Community Shield, he might lock his place down? Realistically, if you get him for the first 3 weeks, that's really what you want him for, and then you can look to move him on. It might help with those early ranks. If we look at his preseason games, you see his heat map. He's very predominantly on the left, right, cutting in. He did score one goal against Barcelona. He's played okay, right. He's played quite well in some of the games. 7.3, 6.4, 7.6, 6.7. He's not a crazy output player, but I think he could be a sneaky pick potentially to help push that early ranking. Next player, sticking with Man City, Oscar Bob. He is very interesting to me because I think he's played better than Grealish in pre-season. Different position, right, as we see on the heat maps of pre-season. He played off the right. I think we've already spoke about the fixtures. Ownership 1.1%, slightly higher. 5 mil cheaper, right? I think at the 5 mil price point, a lot of talk about Rodgers, but I think Bob is very interesting, and there's another interest player that we'll get onto. But in terms of pre-season, right, he's scored 2 goals, he's got 3 assists, he's getting good touches on the ball, he's involved in the play, okay? The past 2 games, right, he's played over 70 minutes, 75 minutes came on, 70 minutes came on. He's a good player. I think with Alvarez just leaving to Atletico Madrid, it opens up potentially more game time, right? Will Pep try all these youngsters? I hope so. Will they give him a go? And he could be a gem, right? Imagine if he starts, Community Shield does well, plays against Chelsea. Chelsea aren't a good defence. They got a new manager. Who knows? And then if he keeps plays for Ipswich, that is really helpful. And also, it's not a lot to invest. So worst case scenario, you have a 5 mil, and if he doesn't play, it's not like Grealish, where perhaps you've got a lot to lose, right? In terms of you could invest the funds, you could. There's not really many options unless you want to go for Rodgers or the player that we're going to talk about now, Ahmad. Okay, Ahmad Diallo, very interesting pick. At one point, he was in one of my drafts. Once again, 5 million, 2.7% owned. Good fixtures. Fulham at home, Brighton away, Liverpool at home, not ideal. Southampton away, Crystal Palace away, Spurs at home. Right? Look at his pre-season numbers. 7.9, 6.3, 8.5 man of the match, and 7.6. He is got a good heat map, right? You know where he's going to be on that right wing. He's a very good player. I think actually he's one of United's better players. Anthony shouldn't play, right? Ahmad should lock that down. He's already scored twice in pre-season. He's getting good touches on the ball, right? Obviously against Arsenal wasn't his best showing, came off at half time. But the last 2, he's played 62 minutes. He started before Anthony. He's getting the game time. And look at what Ten Hag has said. The first one is from last season. Ahmad deserves more game time. Yes, he does. This has to be his year. Eric Ten Hag tipped Ahmad Diallo to take centre stage at Man United, right? So this was after the Rangers game, which was the first game in pre-season, right, in the 7.9 rated one. And yeah, he scored, played 45 minutes, he did well. He's right, it's got to be his year. This is his time to cement that wing spot down, right? I know you're saying Garnacho, Rashford, but that right-hand side should be Ahmad's to lose, right? 2.7%. Same again. Even if he just plays against Fulham and Brighton, and then he comes out the team, or even if he just plays against Fulham and a bit against Brighton, I think that's a good enough fix to take the risk personally. 5 mil, Interesting price point, same as Bob, not many to lose. You might want to go with Rodgers, the safer bet. But think of the upside. I think Diallo and Bob have got higher upside than Rodgers, but slightly riskier. I think it's very interesting. Let me know what you guys think. Those are our two cheap alternatives. And now we go to, I think, a very exciting, very interesting player in Harvey Elliott. 1.8% owned, £5.5 million price tag. Ipswich, Brentford, United, Forest, Bournemouth, Wolves. Decent fixtures, right? Everyone knows Liverpool fixtures. If you don't have Salah, can we look to do it? I know there's talk of Jota. Jota is a very good player, also a sneaky pick. I should have put him in this, but I just wanted to go that one step lower. Dominic Szoboszlai also got a lot of more praise, right, when he played in that number 10 role. And he also scored. However, then he played in the 6. I think what he's been doing at the minute, slot this is, the first game he played 2 10s, we didn't have a striker, then Jota came in. I think Jota's a good pick as well. I'll touch on him in a minute. But Elliott, 2 assists against Arsenal, man of the match, unreal display. He's not going to be your goal scorer, but he's going to look to pull the strings, get assists. I know there's some competition for places. Look at Szoboszlai and people of that ilk. However, early days, Ipswich, Brentford, I think is good. Also, which I will touch on shortly, right now I mean, is Jota. Okay? Jota is a very interesting player as well. He is back before your Gakpos and your Nunez's, so he's got more minutes. He is a clinical finisher, right? I think he is also one to watch, a sneaky link. But at the minute, I got it down as Harvey. It could be Szoboszlai, Jota. Those are your options. Liverpool, good fixtures. If you don't have Salah or Trent, want a cheaper way in, maybe this is your option. Next, Madueke. Okay? Chelsea player, 6.5 mil, 0.6% owned, right? He's played well in pre-season, 6.5, 7.6, 7.6, 7.3, those are his ratings. He's obviously a winger, but he likes to cut in. He scored in the last game, he scored in the game before and the game before. He's got 3 goals, 1 assist, right? And against Man City, he came on, changed the game, got 2 early goals, albeit it's pre-season, right? And you can't take too much pre-season. A lot of it is just players getting their minutes. However, with Liverpool and Chelsea, with being new managers, I think it's interesting to see the system and the players they prefer. I think Madueke is better than Mudryk. I think that right wing. Sterling, not so much anymore, right? So I think Madueke is the one to look at. People, obviously Palmer can play in the 10, right? Palmer might come in and take his position, but I like Palmer more centrally. So if you're looking at Chelsea players, right, Palmer and Nkunku are the ones to talk about. Nkunku at the same price, so you might think, why would I go for Madueke? I'm going to go for Nkunku. Madueke, is he safer in terms of fitness? Nkunku didn't play a lot last season. I'm a big Nkunku fan for fantasy, but I think if we're looking at sneaky picks, sneaky ones, Madueke could be that, right? Man City at home, not ideal, but then Wolves, Palace, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton, he could be one to watch, right? And I've highlighted him there. He's had a good pre-season. I think he's worth looking at. Next, Brighton's new signing, Minte. Brighton haven't got the best fixtures, Everton, United, Arsenal in the first 3. However, I think he was one to highlight because he scored twice in his previous 3 pre-season games and he started every single one, right? New manager once again, so I think pre-season is more telling for that. New system, players they like, but also he hopefully, who knows yet, will tinker less than De Zerbi. If Minte locks down that right-hand side for Brighton, we know what they can do, right? They like to play football. This new manager likes to play football, and it's nice to have that option. Obviously, João Pedro is not back, right? He's obviously your 5.5 Brighton attacker if not, but for a midfielder, Minte is one to watch. He scored a nice goal. That first goal, I think, was a nice finish. He's a good player. He's tricky on the ball, right? Almost Matoma-esque, but 0.8% owned, right? Another one, sneaky pick. Now we move on to interesting picks. Your Spurs boys. So Spurs, Leicester away, Everton home, Newcastle in the first 3, but then Arsenal, Brentford, United. Not the best fixtures, but the opening 2 are nice. Leicester Spurs could be a high-scoring game. So I've highlighted Kulusevski and Johnson. Both under 2% owned at 1.9 and 1.7 respectively. Both 6.5 mil. If we look to your right-hand side, these are the lineups in their pre-season games. What do we see? Well, we see that Brennan Johnson has started every single one. Right, he's played well in a couple. He scored in the first one. I think he's one to watch. He's not the most clinical, but he's a worker. He'll get in those positions, he gets his shot off, he tries, he's a worker. Kulusevski's I've highlighted because he also scored and in pre-season, and he's done alright. But recently they've been playing him as the number 9. And I think that is interesting. However, that will be one to keep an eye on because of that man, Dominic Solanke. He's been rumoured today and recently throughout the summer, but it's heating up again today, about him going to Spurs. And if he goes to Spurs, that will be interesting because now Kulusevski for me wouldn't be an option, and Johnson would be worse of an option because those two would be competing for the same spot. But then I think Solanke becomes the most appealing Spurs attacker because I would expect his percentage of ownership to rise, right, 10.8%, but 7.5 mil, will he be on penalties? He might be. Son's the club captain. He's a very given player. He might give away some of his penalties to Solanke, help him settle in. He's a goal scorer. He's done it in a Premier League proven. So if Solanke comes in, I think it weakens those two as options. Son as well is an option to look at. But I just thought I'd highlight them because they've done alright in pre-season. It's interesting that Kulusevski starting up front and Johnson started every game. And then finally, the final two players I'm going to highlight is Andreas Pereira and Smith Rowe. So prior to Smith Rowe's signing, Pereira was my favourite 5.5 midfielder, right? Not that high ownership, 4.3. Smith Rowe's 4.7 now. He's rised a lot overnight. But I like Fulham's fixtures. United away, Leicester home, Ipswich away. Decent first three, especially that second, third. West Ham, Newcastle, Forest. Good, I like it. Pereira should be on all the set pieces now, with Willian not going to be there, right? So he should be on penalties, free kicks, corners. That always ups the appeal in my eyes to the player. But then Smith Rowe came in, and it made me have a decision. Because as you see, this was their last pre-season game, as in their previous one. Pereira's playing that 10 role, right? Does Smith Rowe come in and take that role from him? Can they play together? What will happen? Smith Rowe's open play goals will be more appealing than Pereira's, I'm sure, but do the set pieces outweigh it? Also, the thing I put below, right, the timing of the sub. So Smith Rowe gets subbed on at half time, scores, right? Good finish, good ball in. But what else is interesting? He doesn't get subbed on for Pereira. Him and Pereira play at the same time, which I'm sure is what will happen. But I wasn't able to catch the game, so maybe let me know below if you guys saw it. But what did that do to Pereira's position? Did he become almost that double pivot and let Smith Rowe run? Can they both occupy that role, right? That would be my thought. But if I'm looking at this, I still like them both. Pereira for the set pieces, Smith Rowe for that open play threat. Okay? And that is my sneaky picks, my sneaky links, taking a look at pre-season, the eye test, what we think. And yeah, let me know if there's anyone I missed. Like I said, I think Jota's also a big one to watch, but this was mainly focused on midfielders.